This year, the celebrations around the World Intellectual Property Day focus on innovation, intellectual property, and SMEs. Patents are an important form of intellectual property that can add tremendous value to SMEs. Patents are rights provided by a government of a country for a period of about 20 years, and patents are filed on innovation in technology. Patents can be filed in any field of technology, and a patent holder can be an individual as well as an organization. Today, we focus on how patents can add value to SMEs, particularly in the field of chemistry, pharmaceuticals, and biotechnology. Ranjana, coming to you first, you belong to the field of chemistry and polymer sciences. How do you think patents can add value to intellectual property and to innovation done by companies in these fields?
Thank you, Durgesh. Regarding chemical and polymer industries, SMEs manufacture products for both domestic and international markets. Like big companies, IP can also add values to SMEs at every stage of the value chain. That is, from generation of an idea to develop an innovative product to its commercialization. As you know, IPR requirements of various industries are different, so the IPR strategies are to be tailored accordingly. In chemical and polymer industry, it has been observed that SMEs, rather than focusing on new compounds, new processes, their research focus on increasing the efficiency, quality, and reducing the cost of the existing products and processes. Thus, it is important to note that such incremental improvements, such incremental innovations are patentable and should have IP protection to avoid any misuse of such incremental modifications. What I have observed that the SMEs with IP protection helps them to identify potential investors. They got tax exemption under Section 80 IAC of Income Tax Act and other value-added advantages. Patents also give market signal and helps to attract investors to sponsor their R&D programs. So, it is important that such modifications, innovations done by SME to be appropriately protected.
Thanks, Ranjana. That's helpful. Priyanka, now coming to you, what are your observations in the field of pharmaceuticals and how do patents and intellectual property, help SMEs in this sector?
As we all know, SMEs are the backbone of Indian pharma industry. Their business model is far more flexible, creative, and cost-effective. In recent years, we have seen increase in patent filings not only in India but outside the country as well. However, sometimes they face difficulty in securing IP protection due to lack of awareness. It is important that they are aware about the patent laws, their appropriate defenses, and certain acts of infringement. For instance, research related to existing drugs or compounds could face patentability issues, but synergistic combination of these existing drugs or improved processes for preparing the same is allowable. Also, it is important that they are aware about the IP rights of their competitors so that they don't unintentionally infringe someone else's work. Provisions like parallel imports, oppositions, and compulsory license can also be explored if required. In short, awareness about IP and securing IP protection for their products could be very vital for their future success.
Thank you, Priyanka. Jyoti, coming to biotech, what has been your experience on IP patents with respect to SMEs, in this field of technology?
Invariably, the research in biotech sphere involves use of biological material like DNA, RNA, protein sequences, antibodies, microorganisms. The biggest concern in the biotech sphere is to keep the subject matter out of the patentability exclusions defined under the Indian patent law. Many a time the research involves isolation, purification, or application of microorganisms or genetic elements from nature. Now, such kind of inventions are considered as mere discoveries. Mere discoveries are considered as non-patentable subject matter under Indian patent law. Similarly, plants or animals or parts thereof are again considered as non-patentable subject matter under Indian patent law. These are some aspects which any organization doing research in the field of biotech or allied sciences should be aware of. Another important aspect is to keep in mind the requirements under the Biodiversity Act of India. If any organization who is not registered in India or any organization who has non-Indian participation, if such organization wants to access biological material from India, they have to obtain prior approval from the National Biodiversity Authority of India. Make sure that if an organization requires use of biological material from India and such organization is not registered in India or have a non-Indian participation, they need to seek prior permission from NBA before accessing the biological resource. The norms are a bit relaxed for Indian organizations. They can access the resource, they can use it, can file patent applications based on such research. However, they have to obtain permission before the date of grant of the patent application. Thus, patenting in the field of biotech sphere may be a bit challenging, but knowledge of the laws and timely compliance with the requirements will certainly act as a differentiator for any SME researching and working in the field of biotech sphere or allied sciences.
Thanks, Jyoti. I think that's helpful. So overall, I think it's important that SMEs are aware of the specific requirements that are put forth by the patent laws of different countries to make the most of them and to differentiate themselves from their competitors. There's just one last thing that I would like to focus on, and that's particularly relevant from Indian perspective. The central and the state governments have come out with a lot of schemes and initiatives in the past few years, particularly to help SMEs and startups in across technologies. It's important that SMEs have a closer look at these initiatives, at these schemes, to make the most out of it, to benefit themselves, especially from a funding perspective. I hope this video has been helpful. Thank you for tuning in.